Assalamu alaikum. I'm Marwa Mohkam Sheikh. Welcome to Naramis. India's strategic decision-making system, once valued for its cautious pragmatism, is today increasingly beset by deep structural flaws. Three interrelated issues stand out: the dominance of domestic political compulsions rooted in nationalist sentiment, the centralization of authority around Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the BJP leadership, and the distortion of the information environment that denies decision makers an objective feedback loop. Taken together, these factors make India's external behavior more rigid, more prone to escalation, and more vulnerable to dangerous miscalculations. The first challenge is the politicization of national security through domestic political compulsions. Under the current political dispensation, strategic choices are often heavily influenced, even distorted, by ultra-nationalist Hindu sentiment. This ideological framing has created a self-imposed commitment trap. Political leaders raise the stakes through maximalist rhetoric and symbolic posturing, leaving themselves little room to retreat or recalibrate policy without appearing weak. For instance, military actions against Pakistan are often cast less in terms of calibrated deterrence than in terms of national honor or electoral mobilization. Such framing may serve short-term political needs, but it undermines the flexibility and subtlety that effective statecraft requires. When national security is instrumentalized for domestic politics, strategy risks being dictated by the emotional tenor of the electorate rather than by cold assessments of interests and capabilities. The second weakness is the over-centralization of strategic decision-making. While India has long maintained strong civilian control over the military, the present system has become highly personalized. Decisions are now largely concentrated in the hands of Prime Minister Modi and a small circle of BJP hardliners, leaving little room for institutional pluralism. In earlier decades, forums such as the Cabinet Committee on Security or the National Security Council allowed for some degree of bureaucratic and expert input. Today, however, the narrowing of decision-making circles reduces diversity of opinion and increases the risk of groupthink. When dissenting views are filtered out, policy becomes more ideologically rigid and less attuned to the complexity of international realities. The absence of institutionalized checks and balances also erodes the long-term resilience of India's strategic institutions, as they become subordinate to the political priorities of the ruling party. The third and perhaps most insidious problem lies in the information environment. An effective strategic system depends on accurate intelligence, critical media, and robust academic and policy debate to provide leaders with objective assessments. Yet India's political information space has become increasingly distorted. A large segment of mainstream media amplifies official narratives rather than scrutinizing them, while independent analysis from think tanks, universities, or investigative journalists is often constrained by political pressures. Without critical feedback, policymakers risk being trapped in echo chambers that reinforce their own assumptions. This erosion of objectivity makes it harder to realistically assess adversary intentions or the costs of escalation, and it heightens the danger of miscalculation in times of crisis. The combined effect of politicization, centralization, and informational distortion is to make India's strategic decision-making system brittle. Instead of fostering adaptive, pluralistic, and evidence-based choices, the system produces rigid responses driven by ideology and domestic politics. This not only increases the likelihood of escalation in conflicts with Pakistan or China, but also reduces India's long-term strategic flexibility in a complex, multipolar world. A state of India's size and importance cannot afford such distortions. Unless corrective steps are taken to restore pluralism, strengthen institutions, and re-establish objective feedback loops, India risks undermining its own strategic stability. Join the conversation by sharing your thoughts in the comment section. Until next time, Allah Hafiz.